Okay, John, you're the sheriff of Big Stone County, and you've got a number of things really happening in your department. And I thought maybe this would be a good opportunity to inform the public what's going on instead of having it interpreted or other ways of finding this information. So I'm just going to ask you a real general question first. Tell me, I think there's a couple of changes that are going on in your department, and can you tell the public what those changes are?
Yeah, there's three areas that are, what at the forefront for us of what we're going forward for 2009 and 2010. First thing is there's some changes coming with the radio system. There's requirements coming out that these radios have to be capable of, in the radio speak world, narrow banding, which basically means a lot of our equipment is obsolete, that has to all be replaced by the end of 2012. Interoperability of the radios is a big issue with the government being able to talk to other agencies. That was brought about by 9/11, and the wildfires in South Dakota also brought this to the forefront of being able to talk to other departments. And the state of Minnesota is very big into what's called the Armor 800 system, using the 800 frequency. So we're spending a lot of energy seeing what can we do in Big Stone County with that. Secondly is our efforts to consolidate some of our dispatch services with Candy-Ojai County. As our population and tax base decreases, we have to look for ways to provide a better service, yet economically for the citizens of Big Stone County, as the tax base is just not there. We don't have the population. Every county has its own system. Let's get it consolidated and make a better system where a group of us can get together, thus making it more affordable to provide what the citizens want economically. So that's part two. And the third area that we're exploring now is a law enforcement center where the Ortonville Police Department and the Big Stone County Sheriff's Office can move into one facility, and a facility that's a lot more practical than what we're working out of now.
And that's probably the one that really kind of piques my interest and probably the public's interest right now. Is my understanding is your plan does not include a new jail. It absolutely does not include a new jail, correct?
Right, and that we want to make very clear. There is no thoughts of a jail. Everybody around us is building a jail. We are in a contract state. My budget is approximately $103,000 a year for contracting out and housing prisoners elsewhere. And for $103,000, I could not run a jail empty. And all of our numbers project that it's not going to, our jail population is not going to increase. It's going to stay steady with meth being brought under control. We're not having as much of those issues. So it just it would not be feasible for Big Stone County, with it in mind that all the counties around us have jails. Then their space, they have a lot of extra space. It's just economical for us to continue with a contracted type method for prisoners and not build a jail.
And I know from my own experience that a lot of my clients end up over in Millbank or Madison, relatively close, so it's not a major issue.
Right. If we make an arrest in Graceville, it's 18 miles to drive to Ortonville or 18 miles to drive to Wheaton. Or if an arrest is made in Ortonville, it's only 10 miles to Millbank. It just makes sense that we do not, build a jail facility. But our other facilities, though, definitely do need a change. We've been occupying, in the courthouse since the early 1900s, and our facilities just not kept up with the technologies that are out there, and more importantly than that, security for the personnel that are there.
And why don't you talk a little bit? So the purpose of the law enforcement center is to provide security not only for law enforcement itself, but also to provide a secure building for your equipment and other things would be my guess.
Yeah, and that's correct. If you currently walk into where our dispatch is located, there's nothing, that protects them, and we don't want to be, the sky is falling, but read the papers every day. There's attacks happening here and there. Let's highlight the Morrison County, where the individual came in and took the county board hostage. These things are happening more frequently. We have to provide something to provide protection for the staff that is in there. we don't want to be fearful, but we still like our public contact. But we do have to provide some security for that person that's sitting by themselves there late at night. You know, that's when something could happen, and I'm obligated to provide them some protection. It just makes good sense. Or if a citizen needs help, we have to provide a safe place for that citizen. And as we said, is the technologies too. There's a lot of changes, and we're just not equipped. People want us to have the technology. They expect to be serviced by this technology, and we're just not equipped to provide that to them in our current facility. And we have an obligation to the people that are arrested. We got to remember that most people here that are arrested are just good people that do bad things, and not bad people doing bad things. You know, our system of where we have to do urine analysis on them, they're traveled through in the public areas. We test those samples on a public counter. That's just not acceptable, and these are things we have to address these issues and make some changes.
Well, and that makes a good point, because a lot of the people that come into contact with your law enforcement may be innocent and are innocent. You may have to run a urine test just to make sure that they're in compliance with some court orders.
Or to help them prove their innocence.
Or to help them prove they're innocent. And so you may have totally innocent people stuck in a situation where they have to give urine, and yet doing it in a public place is really kind of defeats the whole purpose of confidentiality and ensuring their own safety and security.
That is correct. And also, just this disparate people, we like the idea of one-stop shopping. Somebody comes to gun permits as an example. If you're a City of Ortonville resident, you have to see the chief of police. If it's out in the county, it has to come to the county sheriff. People stop at one office, they get redirected to the other. It's just the one-stop shopping, especially as our population ages here. We like to have them, you know, people close to the courthouse, but they don't have to run around back and forth. They can take care of their government work in the area, and on top of that, it's just we can better manage our people. My dispatchers would then be located with us. We can add duties to them. Instead of having a deputy who should be out on the road standing at a copy machine copying reports for the courts, we can assign that to dispatch. Where now it's not practical, we would have to run everything up to a different location, you know, give them directions, and then leave, stop back. Where, you know, in one facility there would be direct supervision to work on it, and just get it done that way. Additionally, there's things that we could eliminate by having us and the police department together. You know, there's a lot of redundant expenses. Multiple copy machines, which are very expensive, multiple phone lines. There's just a lot of added things that can be done away with just to streamline and to be economical.
I know when